Hello, everyone, and welcome to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. Off to a good start because number one, the show started on time, unlike last week, due to technical difficulties. Number two, as you can tell, my mixer settings are right where it should be. So, memo to my cousins, no touching the mixer ever. And number three, Jeff, the co host, after a 2 week hiatus, makes his return to co-host alongside with me. So that's coming up momentarily. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Recap Raw and Impact. Make our picks for the Final Resolution pay-per-view. And special guest, the Great Cheyenne, calls in. So we got so much to do and only an hour long to do so. So Jeff will be joining me very soon. We just getting everything together. Everything is together actually. We just got to get the encoders up and running on the sound. And I will get Jeff on here in a matter of moments. So sit back, relax, and get ready for an hour long of wrestling talk. This is Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. And here we go. Hey everyone, and welcome to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. We are live. You can hear us on itmiradio.com. I go by the name of Kenny C. I hope everybody is having a good week thus far. Thank you everyone for listening. Again, you can listen to us on itmiradio.com every Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central. And right now, I'm trying to get the co-host on the line here after a 2 week hiatus. Jeff is joining me right now. Hey, man.
What's up, buddy?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing good.
Well, we're getting near the end of the year. We got a lot of stuff to discuss. We're going to recap Raw and Impact. We're going to make our picks for the upcoming TNA pay-per-view Final Resolution. And we have a special guest joining us, an indie wrestler by the name of the Great Cheyenne. She joins us at the bottom of the hour. And no SmackDown discussion today because SmackDown was last Tuesday and it was replayed on Friday. And I've already talked about it last week, so no need to talk about it again. But let's get into some WWE portion of the show. Some breaking news as of a couple of days ago, and I found out about this from Double A instead of going to WWE.com. Lillian Garcia, does that ring a bell? You know her as the in-ring announcer from August of 1999 to September 2009. She is now back with the WWE as the SmackDown in-ring announcer. She makes her return official tomorrow night on SmackDown on Sci-Fi. Was really important according to Andrew Master. The mixer is good, it's right where it should be, the settings and everything. And I put a big sign where it says do not touch the mixer. So my cousins now know better. They know better. Alright, let's go ahead and get to the Raw recap. 3 matches has been scheduled for the TLC pay-per-view. Zack Ryder finally gets his opportunity at the U.S. title against Dolph Ziggler. And due to circumstances, nonetheless, but he's going to get his opportunity. Monday Night Raw kicked off with Cena, Del Rio, and Miz. And then Laurinaitis came in. Oh, and Dolph Ziggler as well. John Laurinaitis announced that the 4 guys that was in the ring were going to compete in quarterfinal matches. Bottom line is, if you win your match, you're in the WWE title match at TLC. Del Rio won his match. Miz won his match. Cena won his match. Dolph Ziggler lost his match. But main focus is what's going on between Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler, or should I say Zack Ryder, because of John Laurinaitis. He said you have to earn your title opportunity. You're not going to earn it through a petition. So he put the two best friends against each other. He put John Cena versus Zack Ryder. If Cena wins, he gets his opportunity at the WWE title. If Zack Ryder wins, he gets his opportunity at the US title. And for John Cena, John Laurinaitis called it a social experiment, considering what Cena's been going through with the crowd reaction, and has it gotten the best of John Cena. John Cena did what he had to do, best friend or not. He won the match. Zack Ryder not happy, so Cena took his frustration right back to Laurinaitis. And then he said, you know what? Zack Ryder's been working hard. He's been getting himself out there. He should get another shot. He's been beating Zack Ryder left and right. I mean, he's been beating Dolph Ziggler left and right. So he should get a title opportunity. So Laurinaitis took account to what Cena said, and he said, you know what? I will give Zack Ryder one more opportunity on one occasion. Cena had to sacrifice his WWE title opportunity at TLC. And somehow, graciously, Cena did just that. And Zack Ryder had to go through one more match. And it was against the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. And it was a no disqualification match. I wonder if John Laurinaitis knew all along that Cena was going to do whatever it takes to make sure that his best friend finally gets what he deserves, a shot at the U.S. title. And because of Cena's assistance, Zack Ryder defeated the world's strongest man, and now he gets a shot at the U.S. gold against Dolph Ziggler at TLC. And right now, the WWE Championship match is all set for TLC. For the first time ever, the WWE Championship will be defended in a triple threat TLC match. It will be CM Punk versus Alberto Del Rio versus The Miz. And the contract is now signed and sealed. Two-part question, Jeff. What's your thoughts about this match? And what's next for John Cena? What's he going to do at TLC? Who is he going to compete against?
I don't know what the hell's going on with that crap, man.
Yeah, it's what's next for Cena? That's what I want to know. He sacrificed his WWE title opportunity so that Zack Ryder can finally get his US title shot. You know, Cena's been champion 3 times this year alone, and he's a 12-time world champion overall. So I guess this is a case of a veteran like Cena giving a young guy like Zack Ryder an opportunity, something like that. But we know what Zack Ryder is going to do. He's going to be at TLC. We don't know what the hell Cena's going to do. He made it clear he wants to face The Rock at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. At least we know at the moment he's not going to get that chance of winning back the gold at TLC. But it should be interesting heading into next week. Speaking of next week, it's the 2011 Slammy Awards. And you can now vote to who you think should be the Slammy winning award for Wrestler of the Year. And here are your nominees: John Cena, CM Punk, Mark Henry, The Miz, Alberto Del Rio, and CM Punk. Those are your nominees. You can go to WWE.com and vote for who you think should win that award. And I do want to point out that John Cena has won that award in the last 2 years. But what do you think about the categories? They're not going to reveal the rest of the categories until probably Monday, the day before, hours prior. Brian and Master is like, Michael Cole better not get a 3P as well. Yeah, believe it or not, that goofball, Michael Cole, has a couple of Slammies to his credit. But they're not. It looks like they're not going to reveal the rest of the nominees until Monday. But however, you can now vote for who you think should be the Slammy for Superstar of the Year. And I'm gonna go through all their statistics and stuff. I'll start off with Mark Henry. Mark Henry, the redemption, the validation of 15 years being in the WWE and such, and he defeats Randy Orton. Randy Orton is also nominated for the category as well. I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, but Mark Henry finally got his validation. He's now the World Heavyweight Champion, and he still is the World Heavyweight Champion. Then you got Alberto Del Rio, and I know you can't stand Alberto Del Rio, but check this out. He's the first WWE wrestler to win the WWE Championship, the Royal Rumble, and Money in the Bank in the same calendar year. He did that. No other wrestler can say that. And then you have CM Punk, who not just championship wise, he's won the WWE title twice, and he put the WWE to a whole nother level when it had that contract signing situation back in the summer. And then you have The Miz, who started off 2011 with the WWE title until he lost to John Cena. And he really haven't done much else since, except that he teamed up with R-Truth. Then you got John Cena, like I said, he won the WWE title 3 times, and he is the 2-time reigning Superstar of the Year. He won it the last 2 years. So as far as those categories is concerned, Randy Orton, he won the World Heavyweight title twice. Who do you think is going to win the Slammy for Superstar of the Year?
Probably going to be the Cena or Punk.
I'm going to go with Punk. I'm leaning towards CM Punk. He had a great year. He put the WWE to a whole nother level, and I think this is his year to win the Slammy. This is his moment, and he's currently the WWE champion right now. So, yeah, I want it to be Cena, but because of the impact that Punk made this year, I gotta go to the straight edge superstar. I gotta go with I'm going with Punk to win. Triple H will be making his return to the wrestling ring. He will be facing his former best friend Kevin Nash. This past Monday, Kevin Nash competed in his first ever match on Monday Night Raw in 8 years. Unfortunately for his opponent, it was Santino Marella. John Laurinaitis announced that these two former best friends will face off in a ladder match, and hanging from the ring will be a sledgehammer, which is Triple H's signature weapon. If you climb up the ladder and get the sledgehammer, you can use it to your opponent as much as you want. But in the end, you got to win the match by pinfall or submission. So basically, it's just going to be whoever gets the sledgehammer, uses to his opponent first, then get the pinfall will win. So it's not your typical ladder match when you climb up and get something from it, then you win the match immediately. You got to win this match by pinfall or submission. We haven't seen or heard from Triple H since he got ambushed by Kevin Nash over a month ago. And he hit him not once but twice with that sledgehammer. And it looks like Kevin Nash is in good shape. He's finally competed in a wrestling match. After all these months, he's been interfering stuff and beating people up, but never be in a match. So I guess we can avoid the physical contract or whatever, the physical contact or whatever, or medically clear to compete or whatever. So he's good to go hitting in the TLC. Kevin Nash is. But what's the condition that Triple H is going to be? This is only going to be his, I believe, his 4th match this year. He's been in, WrestleMania against Undertaker, where he lost. He competed in Night of Champions against CM Punk. He won that match. He competed at Vengeance, teaming up with Punk against Awesome Truth. They lost. So this will be his 4th match in this year alone. You know?
Yeah, but Kevin and Nash has only had one.
Yeah, he's finally got one match in. So you got two wrestlers, especially Kevin Nash. He really haven't wrestled that much since he parted ways with TNA years ago, and he's been in the indie circuit a lot. So Kevin Nash is trying to get his feet wet again, and we'll see how that goes heading into the TLC pay per view. Um, so yeah, it was quite a quiet night for the Divas. Not much really happened because they only get a few minutes and stuff. But I think maybe we're gonna have ourselves a Beth Phoenix versus Kelly Kelly, or Beth Phoenix versus Alicia Fox, because they already been through Kelly Kelly and Eve, and now I think they want to have a new challenge for Beth Phoenix. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, and Wade Barrett and Randy Orton, it's only a matter of time before they have their match scheduled for TLC. I think that will be 6 matches scheduled for the TLC pay per view. They only have 4 matches scheduled for TLC thus far. Of course, Big Show taking on Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight Championship. So we'll see how that goes. Some other WWE news. They're bringing it back, Jeff. The tribute to the troops. That will be next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on USA. And then there will be a 1 hour special this on this following Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And for the second year, they're going to be at a military base in the United States. They spent the last 6 years either at Iraq or Afghanistan, out there overseas with the troops. So I guess this is a new thing that they started doing. They're going to start competing in a military base. See, what it's going to be is they're going to spend a couple of days with the troops, hang out with them, talk with them, give thanks to them for what they do for a living. And then they're going to have a wrestling show in front of them. So that is a pretty cool tradition. And
Yeah, how long have they been doing that?
this will be the 8th year in a row.
8th year. So yeah, that's
Eighth
pretty
year.
cool.
Yeah, and the idea came from John Bradshaw Layfield for JBL. That was his idea after he and Juan Simmons, aka Farouk, they were overseas one time. They reached out to executive producer Kevin Dunn and chairman Vince McMahon and said, you know what? We should have this type of show. Compete in front of the troops. Have a type of special. McMahon and Kevin Dunn will say, yeah, let's go for it. And they've been doing it for 7 years, and come next week, it'll be the 8th year in a row.
Well, they won't have to do it next year, hopefully, because all the troops will be back by then.
I think they're gonna still do it, but they won't have to go to Iraq or Afghanistan because a lot of the troops are gonna be coming home.
Yeah, they can do it in my backyard if they want.
As long as you got a bunch of troops coming with you, then that's good.
Shit, this is San Diego, dude. There's troops everywhere here. You kidding me?
Yeah, they're gonna start being at military bases all over America. So they won't be going overseas. It looks like anymore, especially with the troops from Iraq and Afghanistan coming back home. And here's an interesting note from Andrew. Spike TV is airing The Marine 2 on January 7th, which stars WWE superstar Ted DiBiase Jr.
But they couldn't get whatchamacallit to do Marine 2, Cena?
I guess they decided to go with a different direction here. So Ted DiBiase, yeah, that Marine 2 came out about a year or two ago. Came out 2 years ago. So they decided to go with DiBiase instead of Cena because Cena must have worked on another movie at the time. Speaking of movies, The Rock is working on a movie of his own. He's finished the G.I. Joe movie. Now he's working on another movie called Snitch. So don't expect to see The Rock until probably February or March leading up to WrestleMania. So yeah, that's quite interesting. They're gonna have a WWE movie on Spike TV, and remember, WWE Raw used to be on Spike TV until they had an unfortunate ending to their relationship. So I find it kind of odd that they WWE allowed Spike TV to air one of their movies on their network after the fallout between the two. But yeah, and speaking of movies and DVDs, Stone Cold Steve Austin, his brand new DVD, The Bottom Line of the Most Popular Superstar, just came out last week. And it's available 4 disc and regular DVD, or you can get the Blu-ray disc and 3 disc. So what do you think? Do you think Stone Cold is the most popular superstar in WWE history? I would say.
No, not really.
Who do you think's popular? Hogan?
Yeah, probably Hogan, maybe Triple H.
As,
Mm.
as far as popularity, as far as Triple H, he did have some popularity, but not to the extent that Austin had. I mean, Austin, he has the popularity right up there with Hulk Hogan. I will say that. But I guess WWE's trying to forget about Hogan now that he's with TNA. So, and I don't know who came up with the title of that, either Austin or Vince or WWE collaborate. But I think that's their way of sticking it to Hulk Hogan by having a DVD of Steve Austin claiming he's the most popular superstar of all time. He was popular. You got wrestlers of today saying, they came into this business to the WWE because of Steve Austin. Or people started wrestling because of Steve Austin. Austin started off in ECW and WCW and worked his way up to become the big star in the WWE. Um, so I think and Jim Ross is going to be uh, on that DVD as well. We live in some of the greatest moments in Steve Austin's career. Um, Now there's another Tough Enough in the works. They just trying to, I guess, start with the look for the contestants and stuff. I don't think they've gotten to that as of yet. But Steve Austin confirmed it's a go. There's just no word on who else is going to be joining him. Booker T or Trish Stratus and Bill DeMott. Bill DeMott's definitely going to be there. Austin's going to be there. I'm not so sure if Trish and Booker's going to be there this time around next year. But we shall see. We shall see. So a busy week for the WWE coming up. Next Monday is the Slammies. Tuesday's tribute to the troops. Friday SmackDown. We're just going to ignore NXT and Superstars because they're not on TV and they on WWE.com and it's not that relevant. And Sunday will be the TLC pay-per-view, which will be in Baltimore. And speaking of which, tickets go on sale for this coming for the 2012 Royal Rumble in St. Louis, Missouri. That's the hometown of Evan Bourne, who's back from his suspension, and Randy Orton. Oh, and speaking of John Cena, he will be on Monday Night Raw going up against Mark Henry next Monday night. So 2 nominees for Superstar of the Year will compete one-on-one next week. Again, you can go to WWE.com to vote on who you think should be Superstar of the Year. The other nominees, Punk, Orton, Del Rio, and The Miz. Those are your nominees. And an interesting thing just happened this past Monday night. And what happened this past Monday night, there was a promo for Beth Phoenix and Natalya. And that promo got interrupted by another promo as to someone's coming to the WWE on January 2nd, 2012. The question is, who is it going to be? People assume that it's The Undertaker. I don't think that's it. people could assume someone else. Rey Mysterio. No way that could be Rey Mysterio. We know he's coming back. It's definitely not Sin Cara. But who could that promo be with the kid in the high school classroom, in the classroom sitting there, and it's in black and white and stuff. Who could that be? It's definitely not Kane because he got his own promo with the mask. Could this mean that Kane, when he does come back, is he gonna be wearing the mask again? Perhaps with him being bald head and all. Is he gonna bring back the mask? Are we gonna get old school Kane? There's a possibility. They keep showing the mask on the promo. And exactly when Brodus Clay is coming to the WWE, that is a question. Now, Andrew thinks it's Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho confirmed on his Twitter that it's not him. He's going to be in Hawaii on the night of WWE Raw's first show of 2012. And they're going to be I don't know the actual city, but Chris Jericho confirmed that it's not him. So that's up for debate on who is it going to be. WWE is right now working on the show, or the WWE Network. I should be saying they show the promo of the network, and they went on to say that there's going to be a new show called WWE Legends House, kind of like a spin-off of Surreal Life. Have a WWE Legends of Hall of Famers in one roof for a couple of weeks. We'll see how that goes. But WWE really want to give this network a push. So we'll see how that happens. We'll see how that goes. The WWE Legends House. They got a show based on WrestleMania. And they have a show based on the Divas. So that's the only thing we know. Coming up later on tonight's show, we'll recap Impact. And we'll make our picks for the Final Resolution pay-per-view. And also in about 2 minutes, indie pro wrestler, the Great Cheyenne, will be calling in. Speaking of Cheyenne, she's in for quite a busy night. Because not only is she going to be interviewed on this show, 8:30 to 8:40 or 8:45, but later on tonight, she's got another interview. And she's going to be on Three Way with Fire and Ice, hosted by Amber O'Neil and Angel Orsini, whom both ladies have been interviewed on this show. So I promote that show because I've talked to both ladies and they're very nice and they're very cool chicks. So if you like to hear some woman wrestling, you can check out the Three Way with Fire and Ice Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, especially on the East Coast, right after Impact. So we on before Impact, they on after Impact, 3 hours apart. So it's going to be a busy night for Great Cheyenne, but we definitely appreciate her wanting to be on this show. And I'll definitely let her know about that. Huh. Andrew, you funny. At least you think you're funny. So yeah, we're gonna make our picks for the Final Resolution, and we'll recap Impact right after Great Cheyenne. And I want to thank Double A. I have a new segment in the works, but I think I'm gonna save it until next year, till January. And I've already begun the interview bookings for 2012, and I can now confirm that one of my favorite guests are coming back. The Rockettes, Tiffany Rocks and Roxy, for what could very well be their last interview as a tag team, because Roxy will be retiring in February. I can now confirm January 5th, 2012, the Rockettes will be on the show. So be on the lookout for that. We should have the great Cheyenne on momentarily. And while I wait for Cheyenne to call in, I want to get to some what we have in store next week. We'll make our picks for the TLC pay-per-view. We'll try to recap SmackDown, Raw, and Tribute to the Troops. Andrew is saying, I need to be on your show so I can be a guest. Well, for this particular show, Andrew, we only have wrestlers on the show, not wrestling guests. Sorry, man. I know you say you want to be a guest, you want to call in and stuff. I mean, you can call in, you just can't, be a guest. We just only interview wrestlers on this show. And on the Chillin' Show, we only interview models and actors and musicians and stuff like that. We don't really interview other athletes on neither show. Just on the wrestling, we interview wrestlers. So, there you go. Yep, you got your Juan Simmons moment, man. Damn. Yeah, you just got your Juan Simmons moment, Andrew. Sorry, man. Let's see. Any other? We went through Garcia. We went through the Raw recap. So it's quite weak for WWE, only because of the SmackDown taping. The SmackDown Holiday Special. So not much to talk about on the WWE side from this past week. Still waiting on Great Cheyenne to call in. And coming up later, we're gonna recap Impact, and we're going to make our picks for the Final Resolution pay-per-view. That's pretty much all I got. And check out the other shows on itmiradio.com. There's some new shows in the works. So keep an eye out. Check out itmiradio.com. Some new shows on the way. Plenty of new shows. Plenty for former Now Live folks. And our guest is calling in right now. Great Cheyenne. Let me go ahead and add her to the conference here. Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest coming out of Chicago, Illinois. And I must say she is one of the most intimidating female wrestlers ever. Her name is the Great Cheyenne, and she's joining us right now on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. Good evening, Cheyenne.
Good evening. How are you?
We're doing real good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm getting some feedback here on my phone. I hope you excuse me.
That's okay. I noticed you are in for quite a busy night because you're being interviewed on this show right now. In about less than 3 hours, you're going to be on Three-Way with Fire and Ice. So
yes, I am.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Why don't you go ahead and tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born and raised in Chicago. Grew up on the west side. Lived here all my life. Didn't do sports until I started with karate, and then I found wrestling. Dropped everything else, and I've been in wrestling since. Is there anything else specific you might be interested in knowing about me, other than
It's just your wrestling career.
I'm sorry?
Just your wrestling career.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing ever since the last 10 years.
Now, how would you? What made you name yourself the Great Cheyenne? Where did that came from?
The Great Cheyenne came because I'm part Native American. And when I was a young child, my father was killed months old, and it's part of the AIM program, AIM movement, the American Indian movement. So there was history behind it. That, to me, was what made the best. People around thought that was the best name for me too. So it's kind of like emotional side of the history that I have.
All right. Now, Cheyenne, you were recently at the MLW tapings last month, and just I think last week as well. You was at the November and December tapings for MLW, which is a website for custom wrestling, and where typical fans can make matches and determine who faces who and what's the outcome. What was it like being at MLW?
They're basically fantasies. Somebody comes up with an idea, want to see somebody versus somebody. Um, it's very fun. It's interesting to go because you're not wrestling in front of a crowd, uh, but in front of a crowd. But it's definitely an interesting experience. Out is always great to work with. The environment in the MLW locker room is definitely a pleasant one. I'm getting some feedback on my phone, like an echo. Can I call you right back?
Sure, sure, sure. I'm
Yeah, because
sorry.
I'm hearing myself 2, 3 times.
Yeah, we've been having those type of problems. So, yeah, why don't you hang up and call back?
Okay, I'll do it right now.
All right.
Thanks.
That was Cheyenne. We obviously been dealing with this for quite a while with the whole echoes and stuff. It sucks, but it comes with the territory. So she's going to call back momentarily. Uh, she's calling back. So let me get her on here. Great Cheyenne is back
There.
with us.
Yes.
And how's the no feedback, no echo at the moment?
Let me see. I think it's much better right now. I'm not hearing myself reverberate in my ear a million times.
Like I said, we've been dealing with this issue for quite a while, and I just can't figure out what's wrong. But
Oh,
so my apologies.
oh no, that's fine. My apologies. I think I sounded a little weird because I kept hearing myself back in my own ear. So that's what that was all about. Um, but I don't know. Back to your question, MLW locker room is a blast.
All right, and I'm looking at it right now. You can now purchase some downloads from the Great Cheyenne at www.mlwonline.com. You can purchase downloads featuring Great Cheyenne and some of your favorite female wrestlers. It's an amazing website, and go check it out again, mlwonline.com. Other than that, Cheyenne, do you have any other matches or anything else you have in the works heading into 2012?
I actually have quite a few things I'm working on. Some of the things I can't disclose. There's still preliminary work that we're putting together. Hopefully, it all comes to fruition. But as we were right before I called you, I've been networking on the phone with some people and trying to get some stuff done. What I do have coming up right now is December 17th. It's Christmas time. We have a Toys for Tots Lucha show, benefit show that we're doing, and it's going to be in the Chicago North Side area. So I think to me that's really important because there's so many people right now that are having a rough time. The economy's not helping. Uh, it's just a good time to do something good and get together and wrestle and try to make a difference.
That's
So
definitely that's definitely awesome. All for a great cause. So, is there a website or anything people can go to for more info?
it's on my Facebook, and I did post the poster on my Twitter, so you can go at the Great Cheyenne on my Twitter, and the poster will be on there. You don't even have to have a Twitter account. You could just do the twitter.com/the Cheyenne, and it'll come up right on my pictures. It's December 17th, and it's some of the sponsors will be Oi Newspaper and a couple other people. And of course, it's going to be held, I believe it's a Boys and Girls Club location. I know that this is going to be benefiting the Boys and Girls Club, which is, if you grew up in Chicago, a big staple for the inner city youth, me being one of them. You didn't have anywhere to go. You always went to the Boys and Girls Club, and it was a big load off your mind when you're growing up on the west side of Chicago that you could go there instead of, a million other places you shouldn't be.
Like I said, that is an awesome, for awesome cause. Toys for Tots, December 17th. Go check that out if you are in the Chicago area. And you can go through Great Cheyenne's Facebook and Twitter for more info. Who would you consider as your influences in your wrestling career?
Oh, wow. I actually have quite a few. I remember watching some old footage in black and white, and I loved watching Dick the Bruiser. I loved watching Moolah, and as we get more into the 80s and 90s, I was a Bret Hart fan. I loved Luna Vachon. Mick Foley, no matter what I would be doing, would just make me stop everything and make me even sometimes really, even try almost crying, because his promos were awesome. His matches were always awesome. He always was extreme on putting his body on the line. It was he had a passion for the business. He still does. It's people like that really made me enamored with what I'm doing now. So those were some of the people that I enjoyed. Bret Hart, I think I mentioned. Bob Backlund, Terry Funk. Shoot, I could go on and on. Leilani Kai, of course. She's just a lot of these old talent from before, back in the day. It was awesome to watch what they would do. It was just, always a good experience, and the suspension of disbelief was awesome. Randy, of course, Macho Man Savage, he was another one. It was just, if he ever stepped into the arena, even before he stepped into the ring, he just made you look and made you wowed, That was awesome talent.
I definitely agree with pretty much every single one of those people you mentioned. They all brought something very special into the wrestling industry. And, as for Luna, may she rest in peace, and as well as Macho Man.
Right.
Now, if you can have a dream match against any wrestler, male, female, dead or alive, what would your dream match be?
I forgot to mention Bull Nakano. If I could have a dream match, I would want to wrestle Bull Nakano. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think I'd feel like a little kid, and I'd have to contain myself so I could just go do the wrestling. That or Luna Vachon.
That would definitely be a great dream match. You and Vachon, just the personalities and stuff. And I want to talk about your entrance. You screaming, you're jumping up and down and stuff. Have you ever got to a point where you scream at a fan and they scream in one way? I mean, you intimidate some fans out there.
I've actually had some parents come back to shows and tell me that their kids had nightmares about me.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think I was flattered. I don't think the kid was too happy, but I was happy. I was flattered. I think I did a good job then.
I said it at the beginning when you called in. I'll say it now. You are one of the most intimidating female wrestlers I've ever seen, and you are very talented in the ring as well. I mean, you're like a female beast, for crying out loud. I mean,
thank you.
I mean,
I'm flattered. I'm telling you, I don't get offended by that. I think that's an awesome honor to have people call you a beast, because it's wrestling, and I want to bring something good back to the wrestling industry when we go into the ring.
And one more thing, you can check out her Facebook fan page, The Great, one word put together, and Cheyenne, and for her fan page and her profile. But I'm assuming you want people to like your fan page as well. And people can follow you on Twitter at The Great Cheyenne, the GR8 as in the number 8, Cheyenne. That is your Twitter page. Go check her out, follow her and on Twitter, and like her Facebook fan page. I also want to ask you about your appearance on OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. You've been there a couple of times. What was the experience like?
Enjoyed it very much. So it was a great locker room experience. The girls were great. I had taken part in a battle royal, and that was a blast. I had a headbutt standoff with Nikki Knuckles. I did some stuff with Josie. It was a blast.
Do you see yourself? Are you officially part of the roster, or do you just go there occasionally?
Not officially part of the roster, but I look forward to other opportunities with them. When I came back from that battle royal, Josie's first words were, "So when you want to come back?" I'm like, "Whenever you want me back."
You hear that, OVW? Bring her back. That's all I gotta say. Um, Now, before we let you go, Great Cheyenne, and I do want to promote this for you. Later on tonight, you will be one of 3 special guests on the three-way with Fire and Ice. That is tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific on PW247radio.com, hosted by Amber O'Neill and Angel Orsini, 2 well-established female wrestlers, talking women wrestlers, wrestling and such. Um, what's your take on the divas and the knockouts, and especially, well, what's your take on the divas and knockouts and where they are heading as far as both of divisions is concerned?
I think that there needs to be a little bit more done as far as changing it up on the roster and passing the belt on to the next contender or losing it to the next contender. I think the belt loses a little bit meaning when people hold it too long. I think that the interest is lost from the audience, but I think that the girls, all in all, are great wrestlers. Maybe I also think that there needs to be more Kongs. I think it was great to see Kong go to WWE. I think it was great when she went to TNA, because wrestling should be just like real life. It should be a different mix of females. There's all kinds of talent out there. And when I travel a lot, I get to see like a female wrestler in the middle of nowhere, and she's having a hard time getting matches because she can't get to the other places, and she's not getting as much where she's at. There's a lot of wonderful talent out there, and I think that they're doing a great job on their shows, but they need to mix it up a little bit more. There needs to be more competition.
I definitely agree with you. You know, they need to have a variety of wrestlers
Exactly.
instead of everyone looking like the same. And
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up. And now that I realize it, I'm looking at the WWE, and they all pretty much look just skinny and
They're
stuff.
beautiful.
They're beautiful.
And a lot of life is not just beautiful, it's ugly. A lot of life has a lot of parts of it that you don't want to deal with. And I think that should be the way wrestling is too, because your audience relates to what they're familiar with. They relate to what's personal to them. So if they're having issues with weight or issues with relationships or issues with whatever it might be, if you portray that in the ring, you've got a hook there. You've got somebody that's going to be interested in what you're doing. You have a whole bunch of they you bring something to the table that's very valuable, but I think it needs to be mixed up.
Well put. Well put, Cheyenne. Before we let you go, I ask all guests to do this. It's like a station ID, a voice drop. All you have to do is say your name, and right after you say your name, you say you are listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. I will count to 3, and you go ahead and say it.
Okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
This is the Great Cheyenne, and you're listening to Triple Threat Radio.
That's Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Wrestling Radio.
Yeah.
Can we do it again?
Yeah, let's try it again. Go right ahead.
This is the Great Cheyenne. You're listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Cheyenne. Despite the earlier technical difficulties, everybody go check her out. The Great Cheyenne on Facebook and the Great Cheyenne on Twitter. On Twitter is the Great GR8 Cheyenne. It was great talking to you, Cheyenne. Best of success goes out to you. I will be listening to you on the 3-way with Fire and Ice tonight. Thank you for kicking off your busy night here. And like I said, best of success goes out to you.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Success and luck to you on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Much love. You have a good night.
Likewise. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right. That was the Great Cheyenne. We did have some technical difficulties. Jeff, if you're in the chat room, let me know if you want to be back. And I'm going to recap the TNA wrestling show from last Thursday night. And I apologize, Andrew. I was just unable to get your questions in on time. Inc. Incorporated lost to Pope and Devon. ODB lost to Mickey James in a street fight. Rob Van Dam loses to Robbie E for the TV title. And the Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode match ended up with Bobby Roode winning. Let me see if I can get Jeff back on now that we finished the interview. I'm gonna try to figure out what is wrong with when a caller calls in. There's always a feedback. Welcome back, Jeff.
Hey, bud.
I really gotta figure out what's going on with the whole feedback thing.
No big deal, man. It gave me time to go grab my dinner and everything, too, so it kind of worked out for me.
All right, I just finished recapping Impact of last week, and which means we can go ahead and make our picks for the Final Resolution pay-per-view, which is TNA's last pay-per-view of the year. And they have a total of 6 matches. And 5 of the 6 championships are on the line. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get right to it. The TV championship is on the line. You got Robbie E, who is the current champion, looking like Jersey Shore Reject, going up against Eric Young, who's the former TV champion. Eric Young gets his rematch. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the champion.
You're going to go with Robbie E. I'm going with Robbie E as well. X Division Championship is on the line. Austin Aries taking on Kid Cash. Now, these two used to be friends. Now they're enemies. Austin Aries is currently the champion. Who are you taking?
Good champion.
You're going with Austin Aries. I'm going to go with Austin Aries as well.
If that's his name, sure.
Yeah. The Tag Team Championships is on the line. The team of Crimson and Matt Morgan taking on the Pope and Devon. Now, Devon used to be a tag team with Brother Ray, with the Dudley Boys. So who you got, Crimson and Morgan or Pope and Devon?
I'm going with Devon.
You're going to go with the Pope and Devon. I'll go with Crimson and Matt Morgan. And now on to the ladies. The Knockouts Championship is on the line. Gail Kim taking on Mickey James. Gail Kim is the current champion. Mickey James looking to become a knockout champion for the third time. Who you taking?
Mickey James.
I'm gonna go with Gail Kim. She's got that chick on her side, Karen Jarrett, kissing up to Karen Jarrett. So, uh, yeah, I'm gonna go with Gail Kim. Steel cage match, and it's the battle of the Jeffs once again. Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy, with Sting, who's now in charge of TNA storyline wise. He's gonna be handcuffed to Jeff Jarrett's wife, Karen, just
Why?
so that Karen cannot interfere in the match, even though it's a steel cage match. So who you taking, Jarrett or Hardy?
I'm gonna go with Hardy.
I'm gonna go with Hardy as well. Sting is handcuffed to Karen, so there's no interference involved. And the main event, it will be AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode in a 30-minute Iron Man match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. So, and normally their main events are a lot short, like 10, 15 minutes compared to WWE. So who you taking in the 30-minute Iron Man match for the TNA World Heavyweight title? AJ Styles or Bobby Roode?
Bobby Roode.
I'm gonna go with Bobby Roode as well. He's on a roll, and his matches on TNA just keeps getting better and better. So I'm gonna go with Bobby Roode. And that concludes our pay-per-view picks for the Final Resolution pay-per-view. Next week we'll make our picks for the TLC pay-per-view, and we will be joined with Heather Owens, indie pro wrestler out of Ohio. And we'll recap Raw, tribute to the troops, and SmackDown. We'll recap those for the previous.
Hey, Kenny, I have to go, man. I'm sorry. I have to get out of here.
All right. Well, at least he was there to the end. He had to work. Probably had something came up. So we got that coming up next Thursday night. We have a Foofy Foot just joining us. What's going on, Foofy? You're just coming in to the end of the show, but thank you for stopping by. We are on every Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific on itmiradio.com/TTW. We are on every Thursday nights. Coming up this Saturday night is the variety show, Chilling with Jeff and Kenny C. That show is at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. That's also at itmiradio.com, simulcasting or chillingbroadcasting.com. I want to thank the great Cheyenne for joining us tonight. You can catch her on another interview later tonight. That's at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, over at pw247radio.com. Great Cheyenne, second interview of the night. She started off with us, and that's saying something. Thank you, Cheyenne, as always. So thank you everyone for listening. I'm thinking that on December 29th, which will be the last Thursday of the year, we're going to have our award show. Best of TNA, best of WWE, and our own awards. Just for the hell of it. So, Andrew wants to know, will you have a guest Saturday, or do you have to message her on Facebook again? Oh, that's already confirmed and good to go, Andrew. That is good to go. TNA Impact is coming up next if you're living on the East Coast and Central Time. So go check it out on Spike TV. Thank you everyone for listening. You all have a good night. See you this Saturday on Chilling with Jeff and Kenny C. And see you next Thursday night on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. You all have a good night.